It is No Gifts, Please, the parenting podcast by the pair with no real gifts, but a whole lot of gumption. Hey everyone, I'm Steve Noviello.
And I'm Jenny Anchondo.
Good to see you, my friend.
You too. I'm still thinking back to last week's episode.
Oh my gosh,
about
me
the phones.
too. Me too.
It's so. We need to get landlines.
I don't think that's the solution.
That's the solution. We need to get landlines.
I would love to say that I was a changed man from that moment on, but I got in my car and used my phone.
Yeah, and you saw me looking down immediately after.
Immediately after.
Well, but I think he gave grace. Like, if you guys haven't heard it, a gentleman came on to talk about like getting away from your phone addiction.
You really have to hear it.
And if you're listening to this, you're listening to a podcast, you're probably like a phone addict, because that's what podcast people are. Like, I'm constantly listening to them, and I've realized that unless I take some time away from consuming content, I don't have room for my own ideas and thoughts and creativity. Because you're always consuming other people's creativity.
Yeah, no,
only
for sure.
Consume ours. Delete the rest of the podcast.
Speaking of consumers of our creativity, so my sister a couple of weeks ago, I was like in the depths of working on my new show, and then I was on Good Day and blah blah, and I forgot to post our episode on time. So a couple of Tuesdays ago, if you were like, "Hey, where the heck were they?"
Yeah,
it was a little late. So hopefully by now you've scrolled back and you've listened to it. And then I did post it because I remember contacting you that morning. I was like, and then I posted it, and then I realized I posted it to my other podcast. So people that listen to my show,
a little crossover,
suddenly had like an episode about talking to your children about atrocities, right? Oh. So my sister texted me, who apparently is a consumer of our content.
Of both, I guess.
Well, not that content, this content.
Okay.
And she was like, hey, I think she was back from the train station, something, wherever.
Yeah,
there's a point in her week that she listens to our podcast. And she was like, I'm listening and it's not there. And I was like, what? It's not? So I sent her I was like, well, it's on YouTube. You can just kind of play whatever. She said, am I your only listener? Has nobody else brought this to your attention?
Well, no. We have thousands. We actually have a lot. We actually can't track it.
Yes.
Don't look. If you do go to YouTube, no, there's like nobody on there. It's literally just our families. Right. We put it out there for fun, and we record the videos so that we can do the promos. Which when we started this, exactly. We were like, we have to reach our audiences where they are, which is on social media. Right, and so here we are.
Okay, and here we are actually for a relatively special episode. Yes, this is the end of season 2.
Are we taking a little summer break?
We're taking a summer break. I think that there are a lot of. For me, I think there are a lot of changes that are coming. Mm-hmm. I don't really know what they are, but I'm getting a lot of indication that there's going to be change in the air for me. And I also think that our audience is taking a bit of a break. You know, when we started this project, which, by the way, can you even believe that was 2 seasons ago? I mean, so I guess technically a year ago?
No. And also, if I were to have, I wanted to wait. I was like, no, we can't start this right now. I'm about to have a baby. And you were like, here's the graphics. And I was like, no, wait, I want to do it, but we can't do it now. You're like, I booked the studio. No, wait, we can't do it. Okay, I'll see you tomorrow. And then I showed up and I was like, all right, okay.
I guess we're doing this.
And I am so glad that you just pushed for, like, we're going to find the time to do it. And we're just going to, we're both off on weekends. And so, we can just figure it out. But I'm glad that you pushed forward, because it's been really, really a fun outlet and fun to connect with people who are actually enjoying it and finding it valuable.
Well, and I'll tell you this as well. Like I've said this before. I mean, you and I certainly worked together for, how long were you at Fox?
5 years.
5 years. So we worked together for 5 years. We were good enough friends. I mean, I was at your wedding, but you were my top 210. I was in your top 210 guests who saw your 8 costume changes. But being parent friends is a whole. I mean, I don't think that we would have become as close friends if we didn't have children within months of each other.
No, it's parent friends are it's just a different level.
Yeah,
it's a completely different level. I mean, I am a little bit sad to see that some of my relationships and friendships are not as tight and robust as they used to be with people who do not have children. Mm-hmm. Except for there are those few that are like the aunties and uncles that really like insert themselves into our lives and
Reed and
us
TJ
in theirs.
Are like that for us.
Yeah, exactly. And so then they know what it's like. They're in there. They're cheering your kids on. They're a part of it. Then you can still be a part of their lives. But
even though they don't have children themselves,
well, right? Yes. But you can still support them in other avenues if they have an event or a birthday or celebration or something. Then you can still be a part of theirs. But sometimes unless there's that interest in your children, it's hard to maintain the bond.
Yeah, no, for sure. Well, and also, I mean, we talked about this in last week's episode, the rule of proximity, right? I mean, these are the people who, like, for example,
your front row.
Right, these are your front row. Like, these are your top 8 if you're on MySpace still.
Throwing it back.
You know, it's funny, the people who and some of them are really great families, and I can already tell you, even though I would love for it to not be the case, I'm sure it will be, the people that we like played sports with when Jacob was young, when he was playing sports, that are really fun families, and I really like them a lot. Well, their kids are now playing like club soccer and lacrosse and
Jacob
football.
Retired.
And Jacob has retired his jersey in, favor of mathematics and, astronomy and whatever else. So at chess. So I adore these people, and I love seeing them in the cafeteria or at drop off or whatever else.
Yes.
But I'm also not an idiot. Like you are going to see each other every Saturday for 3, 4, 5 hours, every Sunday, every practice, every day. And just listen, that's just kind of how it happens. And the same thing with other people who you used to have in your life who did not become parents. And not that there's anything wrong with not becoming parents.
And they go out to fancy dinners and they look really good in their evening gowns. And like, they literally look so young and amazing. My friends who haven't had kids, I'm like, what? Like, how do you look so good?
Are you so young? The other day, actually a couple of weeks ago at this point, my mother-in-law had texted us. It was the week of Hudson's pre-K graduation. My dad flew in, first of all, for the event. And Hudson was very touched that my dad did that.
Was it a surprise?
No, he knew. He knew he was coming. Hudson, Hudson was like practicing the songs that he was singing, and we were practicing them in the car and all the time.
I hope he had a solo.
Hudson always has a solo, whether or not he does. And he was talking to me about it's graduation. A lot of big things are happening for me, and I'm going to go to big boy school. He goes, everyone's very excited about my graduation. Grandpa is flying in from New York. I mean, he was like, full on in, right? And I look at that with such respect for my parents that my mom would have been here 1,000%, but she had a dance competition that she couldn't miss.
What?
Yeah. She wasn't in it. She was, although she still could.
The lead again.
No, she could still get out there and kick those.
I think so too.
Wait,
but in what capacity?
But as the studio director, right, and the choreographer, and she's got teams competing, and yeah.
Why isn't she here doing that for us?
Well, okay, we'll get to that in a second. But the first part, so in the graduation and stuff from school. Now I forgot what I was going to say.
Oh, sorry, but I'm really excited about your mom coming here and being the choreographer. Okay, Hudson, grandfather's flying in from New York.
Yeah, he was practicing for it. Who the heck knows? I don't even know.
Oh, I'm sorry.
It's okay.
Bad friend.
No, it's okay. And when I listen to the podcast back, I'll be like, oh, well, there was the moment.
Oh, now you'll have to wait for season 3 to bring it back. I'll put it on my little note. I keep this running list of topics and ideas and things like that we need to talk about.
But I will say this, we talk about kind of the rush of like how this all came to be. It's a different time in our business, right? Yeah. I mean, the idea that two people who no longer work at the same station could do something together outside of the television stations, which basically own them, in this kind of fun and unscripted format is relative. I know that it seems so normal to everybody because it seems like everybody's doing it, but that's really not the case. I mean, which is why when I got the green light, I was like, we need to start tomorrow.
I know. We both got the green lights. And kudos to both of our employers for understanding.
100%. I know there was some trepidation.
Well, and I mean, like, we're not doing anything bad, but still there's just has always been these rules around it. But I think that employers are coming to understand that when people have that like creative itch that they have to scratch, like they have to do it. Mm-hmm. It is a must that we be able to talk and express ourselves, and that's what we do. And obviously we do that in our regular jobs, but it's under the confines of whatever it is that the station needs. And so you do that as a worker for the station. You don't get to just talk about whatever you want like we get to on ours.
So I do want to kind of look back a little bit. So we've had a couple of seasons now at this point, which I remember you had said to me, okay, if we start, this is a treadmill you cannot just get off whenever you want to. I mean, you had a baby, you were on leave, we were taping episodes like chunks at a time, like just to, have content for people, while you were out. Looking back, we've had all kinds of different guests, And I will say as well, like not only people, I mean, North Texas certainly has shown up for us. But then all the people that we've had, like, via Zoom or whatever,
certainly.
It never ceases to amaze me how people, if you are kind to people and treat them with respect, how they will show up for you when you want them to. And I mean, everybody from our advertiser all the way through the local fire department that came in to talk to us about, how to keep your kids safe. They don't have to do that.
I have thought about that episode.
Yeah.
But I mean, every day since then, when I close all the doors and everything at night, that was one of the rules he said. And I actually really got some good feedback on Vandergrift.
Really?
A couple people saying, wow. Well, first of all, like the intention was not to say, okay, go buy a car from this particular person, because obviously we have people listening from all over the country in different cities and stuff. The idea was to empower you, but a couple people saying, well, he seems like a decent
shooter.
Decent human being, which is all anyone's ever asking for in a sales transaction. But also people saying, hey, I didn't expect to get that kind of content on your show, but I really learned a lot. And when buying a family vehicle, you do want to know this thing, and now I feel a little bit more empowered. So I thought that was cool.
There was one question that I was like, oh, I wish I would have asked him this, because I do listen back to our episodes after they get published. And I was like, I wish I would have asked him, like, when like you're negotiating the price of a car and the guy's like, or when Heath's negotiating the price of a car and the guy's like, okay, let me go ask my manager. And like, what are you doing?
Like is
what
there a manager?
takes
Are you
so
getting
long?
coffee?
Right. Like, are you just going in the back and waiting? Like when I'm at the doctor's office, like I just saw you standing in the hallway tapping away at the computer and I've been waiting here for 20 minutes. Like, what are you doing? Like, are you just making
solitaire?
me wait? Are you on your phone? Like, what's going on here?
That is a really good question.
I wish that I would have asked, like, what, like, because in my mind, like everybody, it's like, listen, here's the number, here's the rock bottom number. Like, and just, if you stay north of that, we're good. Like, is that how that works? Probably not. Or like, are you really in there being like, okay, how many cars did we sell this month? How much profit did we make? Let's calculate this. Can we afford to sell this one for a little less? Like, maybe that's what's happening back there. I don't know.
Or is he or she thinking it through like, okay, well, this now cuts into my commission, so can I afford to?
Right. Or are they having that?
Sale?
Right. Are they having that conversation? Like, okay, you can sell it for this much, but we're taking it out of your chunk. I don't know. These are questions that I should have asked Charlie.
Well,
we'll have to have him back.
You're bad. Just kidding. I didn't ask it either. No. Yeah, we'll have to have him back. I actually thought that was very interesting. And I did. And I had always negotiated my own cars, by the way, until I got married, however many years ago.
Nice.
6, 7.
Yeah, no, I will say the support of like the people in the community, but also it's funny to me, and granted, it's, I joke that I air a lot of my parents' dirty laundry on this podcast.
It's good laundry.
Not like dirty laundry, but it's like, like
laundry.
parenting stuff, right? But also like the moms at school that I hang out with, like there are many references to
seen the
many
mom
of
from the birthday party.
I have not seen her. But again, as I said in the episode, no shade. I was very impressed by the spread. But like people will text me and be like, were you talking about, was that me or was that this person? Or like when we were talking about people would sooner park in the handicap spot at work than the reserved parking spot that somebody got, from the school auction. And it's like, they're not going to piss off such and such. And she was like, that's me. I'm like, it is you. Yeah. No. Or the mom that brought the air mattress to camping. She was like, that was me. Absolutely.
She knows how to do it.
Hey, and again, these are all compliments, right?
Speaking of, one thing that has come up continually was people saying, I didn't know you could do Girl Scouts without selling cookies. And I was like, yeah, you just simply do not sell any.
Speaking of which, so I'm assuming you've seen in the news recently, so the Boy Scouts are now, it's called Scouting America or whatever it's going to be called, so that they're opening up to all genders.
Yes.
What are your feelings on that?
That's
fine.
I
know this is like totally off topic.
I feel like it's fine. Like, okay. There were some issues. Obviously, they had reason to do this. It makes things a little bit more fluid. But like, I think they have their own thing. I think it's almost going to morph into what item do you want to sell and what experiences do you want to have. And it's true that maybe boys and girls can do this, but now will Girl Scouts feel a little bit more pressure to allow boys to be a part of it? And thus, if they wanted to sell cookies as opposed to like the popcorn. Because as I understand, the popcorn is like not as...
Okay, the popcorn is ridiculously priced. But I don't think the Girl Scouts do feel any pressure whatsoever to let boys in. And frankly, and let me just say this. So Jacob is in Cub Scouts. I hope that Hudson is as well. because I think it's fantastic. The three guys really that run our, I'm going to get it wrong, but like pack, are like, they're super involved dads and they make it as fun as they possibly can for the kids. And like, they are all in. I mean, I told you on our camping trip, these people are dressed up like turkeys, like getting shot with Nerf guns. And like, I mean, it is a great experience for the kids. I love it. And I love seeing the other dads and the moms and, you know, whatever. So A plus. You know, and as a Cub Scout, you can be a boy or a girl, and then you go
right.
Boy
So
Scouts
the boys maybe didn't need to do that because you could be, if you want mixed gender, you could do Cub. If you want girl,
well, but then you age out of Cub. If
you can do boy, you can do boy.
Like Cub Scouts only goes until you become a Boy Scout,
and then you filter in.
I guess it's
what say you went down the road. There's no turning back. This road is closed on this other end here.
I think that I would have preferred like this. Or I would have believed this notion of like, look at us being inclusive because we're going to let girls in now also. It would have been a little bit more palatable had you not filed for bankruptcy and were hemorrhaging members. Like, it falls a little flat to me. It's like when the Catholic Church was like, hey, now that everybody's turning their back on us because we hate homosexuals, we're gonna give that a second thought, right? Like, I would have preferred that had you not been embroiled in controversy first. And frankly, I look at the Boy Scouts the same way. Like, had you not been facing bankruptcy, had you not been involved in these terrible things that were going on and scandals and whatnot. And now I honestly, I think it's a money grab. I think that you're trying to up your membership and you're like, well, how about girls? I mean,
well, girls, like, hey, we're missing 50% of the people out there.
1,000%.
So
we could get 50% more people.
Thought about it. I guess I felt very like agnostic on it. Like, okay, sure. That's fine. Like, I don't really see, I would switch Brighton over to scouting as opposed to Girl Scouts now because we're already in deep with our no cookie sales in the Girl Scouts. We've got some patches. Like, I don't really see any reason to switch. Yeah. I also do enjoy and we had considered an all-girls school for her. There's a lot of research on just girls learning how to speak up in areas that they might not typically,
if they're surrounded by other women.
Yeah. So there's a lot of research on that. And she ended up not going to an all-girls school, and we didn't choose that. But I do kind of seek out opportunities for her to be in all-girl environments as a way to lean into those leadership skills that are sometimes, not all girls, but in some situations are tempered by the boy-girl environment. Do
you think that that's different though for young girls? Like I'm not concerned about Jacob relishing or developing in all boy environments because I think that there's an inequity.
They're the worst.
Well, I mean, so on my show last call, we just did an episode and we talked about, have you heard of microfeminism?
No.
Oh my God.
What is it? It sounds like you are nonplussed.
Well, this may be the end of our...
this is the end of your show and my show and all of this together.
This might not only be the end of the season, but we might be about to get canceled. So microfeminism is this new trend on TikTok, which is where buzzwords and trends come from these days. And this woman was saying her favorite form of microfeminism is when she is emailing like a CEO who is male, who has a female assistant, she always in the to line, like of the email, always puts the female first and then the male. And it's her way of being like I see you, like this is my micro. By the way, what I hear in my mind is microaggression, not microfeminism. You know, this is my way of making sure that
the woman first.
I'm putting the woman first, even though she is is the subordinate or the assistant of the CEO, whether or not she's a man or a woman.
Whether she was the CEO or the assistant, she would always put the she first.
Correct. Particularly if it was a male CEO with a female assistant. Like it seems petty.
I feel agnostic on that.
So another one was this woman said, if a man speaks over me in a meeting, I will continue to speak louder until it's so awkward that he is quiet, and then I will also call him out on having done it. But if a woman does that to me and I feel like she has something more important to say, I'll stop speaking. I'm like, this seems a little aggressive. And then there was a man who was like, well, my favorite form of microfeminism is I will, even if I know that the dad has nothing to do with organizing things like play dates and whatever else, I will call my children's friends' fathers to set up play dates as a way to force them to be part of planning their kids' lives.
Okay, that sentence is disgusting.
Yes.
However, I think that's a great idea for dads. Like Heath has some dad, like you and Heath.
Me and
sometimes
Heath, we do
three
play
of
dates.
us will,
Yeah.
but like often if I'm with the baby, the two of you will do it. But I'm not like force the dads to participate. Well, obviously in your house, the dads have to participate.
Okay, but for example, in my house,
it's kind of like ugly.
In my house, if you wanted to make plans with us,
you would call you.
Well, no. Which one of you are you reaching out to? Are you going to text Doug and be like,
Doug doesn't want to receive my text. Right, and I'm not offended by it.
Doug is practicing all of the best behaviors from last week's episode about distancing yourself from your phone. He may never get back to you, right?
Well,
but and it's not because
it's just weird
I'm the woman.
It's not somebody else's job. They've got their own family dynamic.
Correct.
That is working for them. And if that's working for them, it's really none of your business.
Right.
Like you could do it to your own husband, I guess. You could say like, oh, I'm going to be at work. Text Bob. He'll be home with the kids that day or something. That's, I think, within a family, sure, you can.
Okay, here's another one.
But to another family, don't take up their dynamic.
I love that I'm got you on fire here.
Well, it's just really weird.
Well, because listen, you are a feminist, and I appreciate you are. We talked several weeks ago about Little Women, Big Dreams, or whatever the books were called,
Yes.
and talking to your kids about strong, powerful women who make a difference, and women can do anything that men can do, and I'm a huge believer in that, right? So the other one was. This woman said, my favorite form of microfeminism is I will put male qualifiers on things that are already inherently male, just to point it out. For example, I will call the NBA the men's NBA because we call the women's NBA, the WNBA, the women's NBA.
Okay.
See, doesn't it?
I mean, it's fine. I guess if people want to do that, it's fine. It's a little weird. Was not the NBA first and for men?
Correct. So her thing is but now that we have the WNBA, which is obviously the women's NBA.
Right. They couldn't call it the same thing. I mean, then I guess you could. I guess you can't. I guess that's what she's doing. It's the men's NBA versus the women's NBA.
I guess.
I think it just makes it sound like you don't understand sports if you say it that way. But I mean, I guess to each their own. I think I don't. The air of it. I'm trying to understand why this is bothering me, and I think why.
But it bothers me too.
Me is because it's like meddling with other people's dynamics. I think if you want to put it on your own family and tell your son, like when you reference basketball, you need to talk about boys basketball or girls basketball or something, or your dad needs to set up a play date because I also work. I think that's fine within a family system. But to do it to somebody else or like in a working environment is so peculiar.
But here's the thing too, listen, live your life. Does everything have to be a movement? Does everything have to be a hashtag? Well,
that's how we got to where we are,
everything have to be...
I mean, all these movements are why, both of us can do certain things.
1,000%.
I'm glad for some of these other movements. This one it feels very micro, I guess.
Well, but micro feminism.
So I get, but then I also do wonder, perhaps in 20 years, we may listen back to this and be like, wow, we were really out of touch and we didn't understand the great things that this little micro movement was going to do. And now dads across America are planning play dates. I don't know.
All
Interesting.
right.
Okay, yeah, cancel Steve.
Well, that could be it for us. Tune in next week for MASH. We'll be rerunning old episodes.
When are we going to come back?
It's what, June-ish right now? It is June. It's not June-ish. It's June. I don't know. I feel like, listen, when we first started this project, it was September or August of last year. It was back to school time.
September. Wow, I can't believe we've been going for that long. Go us.
Totally.
Wow.
Yeah, no, we decided, hey, if we're going to do it, let's do it now while we have approval. And also because we felt that back to school was kind of an organic way.
Okay, let's come back for back to school.
Yeah, so here we are. We've grown by one. We've birthed a baby. We've done all sorts of things. I've stopped calling my oldest by its nickname. We've done a lot of
with a capital J.
We've done a lot of growing this year. So anyway, listen, here's the good part. You can also, of course, catch up with all of our old episodes because there's got to be 20, 40 of them at this point. I mean, who the heck knows? Everywhere that podcasts are available. And I do want to say, thank you. I mean, to the people, from Charlie at Vandergriff, who when we were like, we have no listeners, would you like to be our advertiser? To everybody, there are so many choices in content out there. And I'm flattered to know that you turn to our admittedly unscientific, unqualified, unprofessional advice
Very
and banter on parenting.
Very unregulated advice. And so when we do come back in August-ish, September-ish, hit subscribe, because that's the only way that the episodes will populate. Otherwise, you just won't see us again.
Yeah, there you go.
So you want to hit subscribe so that in your podcast feed.
Yeah, so do that now. So today, go ahead and hit subscribe, right?
Yes.
That way when we come back in August, it'll pop up.
I'm going to spend the summer trying to recruit your mom to come over here for dance for my girls.
Episode.
And for
I would love. Okay, so here's really quick. So here's our quick wish list for next year. I would love to have your mom on. I would love to have my mom on. I mean, I feel like Frank would be a pretty good guest.
I agree. Well, he was just in town. That's a bummer.
He was, yeah. He wasn't here on a weekend. Yeah. I think that would be fun. I kind of want to. I think I would like to have Heath on as well.
Do I dare?
Do you dare?
He will definitely get us canceled, but I think he's a good guest.
You guys had a podcast. He knows how to behave.
Yeah, he knows how to behave more or less. But like, we didn't have topics like that. I'm dying to know what he would say about
microfeminism.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You can also hear more about it on Last Call with Steve Noviello on Fox.
Congratulations. And look, you've started a whole new show. Oh my gosh, a lot has happened.
A lot has happened, and I'm thrilled that it's happened with you. So I look forward to seeing you for season 3.
Likewise.
We look forward to seeing you as well. You can listen to a new episode every Tuesday morning. Well, I guess not right now, but when we're back. So go ahead and
do the reruns, people.
Subscribe. You can listen to us on all of your favorite podcast platforms. And if you do nothing else today, please find yourself a friend you don't need to clean the house for. Thank you.